Welcome back to The Greatest Story Never Told, Part 4. So, when we last left off, Jason and I had just taken a private tour of the Mormon temple. Now, let me set the tone. We weren't just casually walking around. We were lit up. There was a charge in the air, like static before a lightning strike. One of the women leading our tour looked at us, and her eyes literally widened as if something ancient had stepped into the room. From calm to wide and alert in a second. She saw something. Adrenaline? Off the charts. Energy surging through my veins like I was plugged into something far beyond myself. This was months after my awakening, and I was still adjusting to how much energy I could move. And in that moment, standing in front of this massive sacred structure, I felt an undeniable pull. Jason looked at me and casually said, "You need to go talk to the prophet." Now, for context, the prophet in the Mormon faith is like the Pope, a direct spiritual authority. Most people never get near him, but that didn't matter to me. I was completely electrified, running on cosmic impulse. So I walked through the compound straight toward this enormous building with a beautiful reflecting pool in front of it. Everything felt surreal. The architecture shimmered slightly in my perception, like it was flickering between dimensions. I stepped into the ground floor. There were security guards posted, of course. One stood to the left, and as our eyes met, something wild happened. He froze. His face went from pink to bone white in an instant. Sweat started pouring down his face like someone had flipped a switch. I never broke eye contact as I approached him. Every cell in me was alive. My energy field was so intense I could feel it pressing against the walls. And then I said it, calm, steady, unwavering. "I'd like to speak to the prophet." The man could barely get a word out. I don't know if it was fear, awe, or something he didn't even understand, but something in that moment shook him to his core. I turned slightly and saw a woman working behind a desk. Her voice cut through the static. "You can't just walk in. You need an appointment." Very few people are ever allowed to speak with him. But I didn't argue. I knew I wasn't meant to force anything. I walked outside and sat in front of the great pool of water. The moment I closed my eyes, I felt it, dozens, maybe hundreds of ethereal beings surrounding me. I could see them clearly in my mind's eye. Their presence was powerful, ancient, reverent. And then out of nowhere, I saw it, Thor's hammer. Not as a myth, not as an idea, but a real energetic construct descending from the ether like it had always belonged there. And I brought it down into the water. The moment it connected, I supercharged that entire pool with pure high-frequency vibration. It rippled out like an energetic bomb, silently stunning the space around me. People near the pool froze. They looked up, around, confused. Something had changed, and they felt it without knowing why. Then, just like that, I stood up and walked away. Jason and I left quietly. No words were needed. We both knew something monumental had just happened. He looked terrified. I don't know if it was fear, awe, or confusion, but the man was visibly shaken. And me? I was lit up like a human lightning rod. I could feel every atom in my body vibrating at a higher octave. I wasn't just walking, I was radiating. My energy field was palpable, dense, alive. I don't remember exactly what happened next. Time was doing that strange thing where it bends around moments like these, but I remember turning and seeing a woman working nearby. She intercepted with this practiced bureaucratic tone. "You need an appointment. Very few people are ever granted access. That's just how it is." No surprise, no welcome, just a wall. So I turned and walked back outside. The pool of water in front of the building shimmered in the daylight. I sat down at its edge, still buzzing, still wide open. And then they arrived, ethereal beings, dozens of them, maybe more. They encircled me. I could sense them, feel their presence brushing against the edges of this reality. They were luminous, timeless, and they knew me. There was no fear, only presence. To be continued,